So I want to welcome somebody here today. We're going to have about a 30-minute conversation around what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. And I have a friend of mine here that I want to introduce you to that is going to share a little bit of his life story with you to be a benefit for you so you can hear something about his story for you. Something here. I invite you to listen to this story about you. So I want to introduce Otto, the wonderful, amazing Otto Collins, a good friend of mine, and one of the most loving men I know. And I appreciate you for saying yes to this. Hi, Otto.
Good afternoon, good morning, Robert. It's great to be with you here, Mr. Paisley. I'm every time I'm in the presence of Mr. Paisley, I am just awestruck.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You're amazing. Would you be what? Just tell people a little bit about yourself before we get started.
I am somebody who has been on a personal and spiritual growth journey. Uh, I started to say ever since I was in my 20s, but it really began even earlier than that. Um, And, today, uh, I'm a coach, I'm a healer, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a friend, I am a difference maker, and I am a fellow traveler on the path of life to thousands. And in fact, millions, because everybody that enters my path, um, hey, we're traveling this life together. And, I keep learning, I keep growing, I keep seeing new things about myself. And wow, what a journey. What a great life to, you know, every moment it's almost like, I see something new and it's like, wow. And things just open up for me. But so your question was, well, what was it like then and what's it like now? Well, the first story that occurs to me to go back to what it was like then was, by most people's standards, it wasn't horrible. But to me, I had to make a change. And what I'm speaking about is when I left my first marriage. I was, I got married the first time a week before I turned 20. Now that's mind boggling to me now. I mean, really. I mean, think about that. As I think about that, there's no way in the world I was ready for the commitment, the just all the challenges. But somehow, whatever life puts in front of us, we handle, we deal with, and so forth. And I was married to my first wife for 15 years, and there were a lot of challenges. There were financial challenges. There were bankruptcies. When our son was born, he was born with health challenges, and they treated him for a little while like there was a movie many years ago that was called The Boy in the Bubble. He was almost to that point where they were going to treat him like that. We were living in northern Kentucky, uh, in eastern Kentucky actually, and the doctors made a casual comment one day, changed my life. It said, if you don't like the fact that your son is sick, just move, because all the kids are sick here. And then 6 weeks later, we moved. And that created challenges after challenges. I felt like I was overmatched by life. I moved to a new city. I didn't know anybody. Getting a job that paid a lot was difficult. And yet, somehow, it was, in spite of all the pain, in spite of all the overwhelm, um, you come out of it, and one moment at a time, and one moment at a time, and one moment at a time. And then after a period of time, I decided I was leaving the relationship. My son was 8. Most difficult day of my life, telling my 8-year-old son I was leaving the marriage. And when I left that marriage, I didn't have a clue how I was going to do what I'm about to say, but it was my number one goal. It was my number one intention. I was going to figure out how to have an amazing relationship. And I had read a couple of books the year prior that helped me to see what was on offer. And it's like, wow, I didn't even know. And that's what happens, Robert, in life. You get opened up to seeing something new. And now, once you see something new, you can never go back. And that's what happened for me was I saw a possibility that I didn't see before. And I was hooked. And not that these two books I read were promising me anything, because in fact, it was quite the opposite. But what I saw in these two books were a new way of being in relationship that was about openness and connection and love and going through wonderful times and difficult times. And one of the books was, and still keeping your connection, still having the passion grow. And the other book talked about true spiritual partnership. That book, by the way, was Gary Zukav's book, Seed of the Soul. The other book that I've talked about a lot over the years, it's not a popular book, but it's the singer-songwriter Kenny Loggins wrote a book with his ex-wife called The Unimaginable Life. And those two books changed my life forever. And I decided I didn't care what it took. I was going to create something special, magical, and amazing. And that's what I did. After I left my ex-wife, um, a miracle happened. The woman I'm been married to, in 2 weeks, we will celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary. I call her the incredible Susie. And we met and literally had a soulmate experience. And not that my previous relationship was horrible or, anything like that, but I knew that I had to go and to something different. And when I left her, I wasn't leaving her for anyone or any particular relationship, because at that time that was certainly not the case. And what I saw as a possibility was what I was going toward. And then Susie and I get together not that long. Literally, we broke all the rules. And people say you shouldn't get together in relationship shortly after a breakup. We blew that away. Um, and in, I don't know, 3 months time, we were together, and then we were together and together and together, and one moment after the next. And I moved in with her, and on and on. So um, the biggest shift from then to now is there's a belief that I have, and that is, Susie and I wrote this book and published it last year, and the book is called Big Fat Love.
You mean this book? This one? This
That
book
one
right
right
here?
there, man.
This? Yeah, this is a great book, by the way. Yeah.
And people have asked us, and over the years, because people have heard kind of our soulmate story, and they say, well, what if I don't meet my soulmate? What if I don't have that soulmate experience? What if I don't have big fat love? And here's what I always tell people. You may not have the experience that I had and Susie had, and that's okay. But I will absolutely promise you that there is more love that is possible for you than you can see for yourself right now. And just knowing that, or even catching a little bit of a glimpse of that, it's like, wow. Because even with your, whether you're with, we're talking about the person you're with, the person you want to be with, and not just your intimate relationship or marriage either, by the way. I'm talking about the people that are in your world, your family, your friends, your coworkers, the people you meet at the grocery store, the people you meet at Costco or a concert, or when you're at the park walking your dog or whatever. There is more on offer than you can see right now. That would be my message. And whatever your experience has been up until now, my life journey has shown me that there's always something higher, something better, and it can be infinitely better and different, and you just start right where you are.
I love that. I love that. And that sparks a question that I'd love to ask you around that.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that comes up is the how do we do that? Oh, infinitely better and infinitely greater. Where's that possibility for that big fat love in every moment in every relationship, even the simple relationship? So the question is, how do we access that? How do we access that big fat love? What's the way in?
The way in is taking a look at how you see yourself, how you see the other people in your world, and how you see the world. One of the biggest ways in is to really start to examine exactly what I said right there, which is, how do I see myself? And how do I see the people? So do I see the people in my world as somebody to be fearful of and somebody that I have to put my guard up for all the time? Or do I see the other people as people that are, I can just show up and be open and be loving and be vulnerable and be kind? Because the way I see the world comes from the thoughts and the thinking that I believe and I make real and I call my reality. So if I have a thought that I can't trust my spouse, I mean, not just trust them as far as having affairs or infidelity, but I can't trust that they're a safe space. Well, guess what? That's not coming from them, that's coming from you. And so the starting place is to start to take a look at all the thoughts that you're believing and that you're calling your reality, because that's the place that you're living from. And I'll give you a practical example of this in relationship. It's, I have said many times that if I focus, so I have thoughts about my wife, Susie, that she's totally incredible. And I create her in that way. And so because I see her that way and I put energy into making her incredible, she shows up that way for me. And I see her that way and I do things in my own world to have it be so. I've also said that sometimes there are negative thoughts and negative thinking that comes in, that if I believe that and I followed that path, we could be divorced in about 6 months. So which thought are you going to follow and believe and make real? That's the starting place, is starting to take a look at, what am I believing? Where did that come from? And not necessarily that you have to follow and get a clear view of, well, where did of examining, where did this come from? But just taking a look at, is this thought and this belief and this way of seeing the world, is it helping me to create more or less of what I want? It's that simple. That's the starting place. Because most people don't do that, Robert.
So I'm hearing when you're sharing is being clear about, is this thought creating and focused on what I don't want, or what is this thought creating and focused on what I do want, is what I'm hearing you say. And that's such a simple distinction. And sometimes I have experienced this in my own life. And I'm going to take it to my relationship with drinking alcohol,
Yeah.
because this is a clear example in my life. When I was drinking alcohol and I wanted to quit, my story was, oh, I got to stop drinking. I can't drink. I just got to stop drinking. And I kept picturing myself drinking because I kept thinking about stopping drinking. So
Yeah.
to know what to stop, I kept thinking of myself drinking, and I kept ending up drinking. I couldn't quite figure out how I kept ending up drinking again.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure when that shift happened, but there was a shift there, and somehow, some way, I started to think about, well, what would I rather do other than be drinking? I was like, well, I'd like to go to the park with my kids. Oh, I'd like to go to, yeah, let's go to Hershey Park, have a good time at the arcade, or let's go out, let's go take a walk.
Yeah.
Something different. So what I'm hearing is switching the thoughts from what we don't want in our relationship to what we do want is a real simple shift that you see is the starting point. And that, what about, my question is, what about people who have been the consistent thoughts for years and years and years? I was in a marriage, in a relationship for 15 years, and my consistent thinking around it was, I would say, mostly negative for the most piece. So for people that have been going through that for an extended period of time, is that the starting point, or is there something else?
Well, if your question is, if I heard your question correctly, is the starting place really looking at the negative thinking? I think the starting place is getting clear about what you want. So it is a whole lot different to get clear. Okay, what I'd really like is I'd like to be in a relationship with someone where we enjoy each other's company. There's freedom to talk about anything. There's passion, there's love, there's connection, there's just the safety and the freedom to just be who I truly am. Whatever it happens to be for you, that becomes the internal conversation of looking toward what do I want. Most people are so fixated on what it is they don't want that they continue to create more of that. They start looking at, well, they never, they always, how dare you? And so all the negativity just gets poured right back into everything. And there's a trap here, though. The trap is, and I don't want to get too far off in teaching mode, but the trap is that people um, people see their spouse, their partner, the people they're in relationship with, and they want to change them all the time. And that is not the thing to do. And just one of the things that I've found that's been huge on my journey is looking at the differences between me and someone else. And instead of trying to make them wrong for being different, trying to see what can I learn from that person. That's been huge for me to see, instead of how can I make them wrong for being different, what can I learn from them because they're so different from me? That's been huge.
Yeah. What do you think it is that can lead us to want to change those other people and want them to be differently? What do you think it is that draws us, that really, because I've had that in my life, I can relate to that. I've had that in relationships where I've felt that with my ex-wife a lot. I can still feel that with her at times around situations with the kids. I can feel that with my kids. It's like, don't do that, stop doing that, you shouldn't do that, that's annoying, that's stressful, that's So what is it that draws us to want to change these other people, do you think?
I think there is a thought within us that we're believing that it's running unconsciously that says some version of, if they don't change, if they don't see life differently, if they don't change this behavior or that behavior, or if they don't do this or that, somehow, some way you're seeing, I'm not okay. I'm not safe. My life isn't okay. And that's crazy, because somebody can be absolutely 180 degrees different than you, and you're still okay. You're always okay. It's just your mind would have you believe that you're not okay because of your thinking. In order for me to be okay, they have to be a certain way. No, they don't. You're still okay regardless.
Yeah.
But we make up a story that says we're not okay. I did that forever. I've done that in so many areas of my life. Um, Finances, relationships, um, you name it. And I've done that. And then, you start to notice, oh, is this serving me or is this taking me away from what I want? It's huge to see that.
Something that comes up for me that I'm experiencing, that I've experienced it numerous times, is even when sometimes I would, and there's times that recently where I've got I've created an experience where I said, hey, stop doing that. And even when I have created the space of got my kids to stop, like my 5-year-old daughter will be banging on something, yep, bang, 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 bang. It's like, stop, honey, stop that. But even after she stops that and then she goes to do something else, I can feel it's not just that one thing, that it's there's a lot of different things, especially when I'm feeling really stressed, where I can project that me feeling not okay onto almost anything that she decides to do. It's almost like nothing you do is going to be okay because I'm not feeling okay within myself. So I love that you're sharing that.
I mean, at a very practical level, somebody could see, banging like this. Some people could find that annoying, and some people would call that drumming.
Right, you're being
Sometimes it's really
creative,
bad
right?
drumming, but you know,
Right, you're
but
being creative, being creative. Yeah, it just depends on how I'm seeing what she's doing through the lens of what I'm creating in my
totally,
mind. Yeah.
totally. And that has been, you ask about my journey. That continues to be my journey, is to see, what am I believing? How am I living my life from what I'm believing? And then when I start to notice, oh, well, maybe there's a different way to see this that's going to make my life different or better. And by the way, different or better isn't necessarily different or better. Um, but, you don't want to be stuck in anything. Yeah. But, seeing that there are always new possibilities on offer, and where you get stuck, that always comes from how you are seeing the world. And when somebody says, well, I'm stuck, they're not really stuck. All that's happening is they are stuck in a certain way of thinking or seeing the world. That's all being stuck is.
Mm. So being stuck is it's a what I'm hearing you what you're sharing, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that being stuck is it's a perception. It's a way of seeing.
Being stuck is, I see the world this way and it can't be any other way. So therefore, I'm stuck here and I don't like what I see as this way. I mean, by the way, we don't ever say, well, I'm stuck and life is so awesome. Life is so great and I'm stuck. We don't ever
Well,
say that, do we?
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been. I've ever said, yeah, hey, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm stuck here. Oh, what am I gonna do? Yeah, we don't ever use that language
We only
around.
use it on the negative stuff, or when something we're perceiving to be negative about ourselves or our situation.
No, we're wishing we could get stuck on the good stuff, right? We're like, oh man, why can't I get stuck on that? Right? It's kind of
Yeah,
the thinking. That's been
yeah,
my thinking in the past.
right.
So yeah, I love that. That's an interesting thought. I love that you brought that up. Because
Yeah,
the truth is, we can't get stuck on either.
nothing. We can't be stuck on anything.
It's gonna. Well, that reminds me of the saying somebody said, this too shall pass." Is what I've heard. This too shall pass. You love it, well, this too shall pass. You hate it, this too shall pass.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Hmm.
If there's one thing that you could share in just the last couple minutes that we have in this beautiful, wonderful conversation that I really appreciate you saying yes to, that I know is going to have value. And again, this is Big Fat Love. It's on Audible and paperback. So for those of you out there, really great to see the possibilities for love are endless here with this book. I really love this book, by the way. What would be some just a small, short little something you could share with people that you would be something you want to leave people with?
There is always more love on offer than you can see right now. There are always more possibilities than you can see. And it's just that the direction that you're looking in, that's the game, is where are you looking? And I know that in my own world, whenever I'm seeing from a place of I can, I want to, it is a whole different world than I can't and I don't know how to. It's something that simple as seeing which am I living out of in this moment? Which am I living out of? And it starts with just simply noticing. You want more love? Start by being more loving with yourself. You want more kindness? Start by being more kind to yourself. That's the game. Yeah. You think other people should change? Start by changing yourself. That's the game.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I would encourage people, if you want more love in your life, Big Fat Love, the book that you were showing that my wife Susie and I wrote and published last year, it's been called the best book on relationships ever. I didn't say that, but somebody else did, and I respect their opinions. So yeah, pick that up. It's on Amazon, and I'm doing a lot of one-on-one coaching these days. And so, if there's something that I've sparked that you'd like to have a deeper conversation about, reach out to me. The website is susieandotto.com, or just search my name, Otto Collins, online, and it just loads of stuff just pops up. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Otto. Thanks for coming here today and sharing your experience and your strength and your hope and possibilities for more love
Yeah,
in all of our relationships. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
glad to do it. Great to be with you, Robert.
And thanks for everybody who tuned in to watch this and watched it the whole way through. Congratulations to you. Give yourself a round of applause for finishing this, and share your takeaways in the comments if you would be so kind as to do that. I appreciate you, and see you in the next video. Thanks.